Kendrick brothers are back with their newest Christian drama film that hit theaters a couple of weeks ago, and I finally had the opportunity to check out this film as it's been doing really well at the domestic box office. After checking this movie out, I gotta say that this movie is just kind of terrible. People seem to really love this movie. It got an A+ on CinemaScore, so I understand I'm in the minority when it comes to my thoughts on this film, but I'm here to tell you guys why I didn't think this movie was good. And I do want to start off by saying that I have seen the first film called War Room, which was a big hit back in like 2015, and I didn't think that movie was great either. I thought it was really cheesy and very pretentious, and it's just targeting the Christian community. And I know all about that because I grew up in a church in the Christian community. I've seen so many of the Kendrick brothers films and other Christian movies. So when the Kendrick brothers decided to make a spin-off and do the movie called The Forge, I was interested in seeing what this movie could be like. And I will admit, in the first 20 to 30 minutes of this film, it wasn't that bad. Like, sure, the acting wasn't great, the story is very basic, you've seen it all before, and the writing is, well, it's like a Darman video. I wasn't going into this movie hating it, but as the film goes along, it progressively just got worse. And this is the main issue I have with all of these Christian drama films. These movies aren't designed to be movies. They're just designed to spread Christian message that these movies want to do. And it's so obvious and it feels very suffocating. And it's funny because when I used to go to church all the time, I used to tell people this because I've always loved movies and I've never enjoyed these movies. It's just here to be a message for Christians to be like, oh man, this is great. This is a wholesome type of movie. But if you enjoyed this movie, then I'm really glad that you did. But this is still a film. Like, if I wanted to get a message, I can watch a YouTube video from a pastor, or I could just go to church and hear that. But when I want to watch a movie that maybe has Christian ideals and values, I want to see how that's going to play out. I want to actually be realistic. But that's one of my biggest issues with this movie. This movie is so fantasy-like that it actually made this movie really difficult to watch. When we get into the third act of the movie, that is just so ridiculous that I won't spoil what happens, but it basically is, there's this deadline that the main character needs to meet with his group of workers, and they just have to, work all night and get something done for this company. And I just found it to be so cheesy and stupid, and the writing is so dumb. There are so many moments in this movie, especially with the main character's mother, who is the same actor from War Room, but they decide, hey, she has an identical twin sister from War Room, and I was just so confused. All of the lines of dialogue that she's given in this movie is absolutely terrible. Like, there are moments where the main character, Isaiah, finally does something good, and then he walks away, and she's like, yes, praise God, woohoo, and it's supposed to be like this funny, cheerful moment, but it happens all the time in this movie, and it just feels so not realistic. The next negative I have with this film is with the acting, as the acting in this movie is pretty bad. But I will admit, comparative to like the God's Not Dead movies or even like Courageous, this has some of the better acting. I do feel like everybody in this movie was trying to be good. Like, they were trying to make a valuable Christian message type of drama film, because everyone is literally trying their best, but unfortunately it comes off as really silly. And most of this is just due to direction here, where you have Alex Kendrick, who is the director, and his brother Stephen Kendrick, who is also a co-writer and co-producer on this film. I do feel like the direction is just not there in this movie. This film also looks extremely cheap. There are a few scenes in this film where the characters are in a hair salon because that's where the mom works and she's with a bunch of friends, and some really dumb dialogue scenes that are just so stupid and pointless it could be taken right out of the movie. But the way that these scenes look is so bad because the light that is coming through the window just makes it look so ugly to look at, and there's so much shadows and it just looks like a mess. So I was not a fan of cinematography in this movie. The music in this film is also terrible, which is a common thing for these Christian drama films, where they put in the most cheesiest garbage music in the most weird and unexpected scenes possible. The other crime that this film commits is the fact that this movie is over 2 hours, which is completely ridiculous for a movie like this, because it is so basic and straight to the point, but so much of this movie is filled filled with this Christian message that's just shoved into your face with Bible verses, and it just feels like you're listening to a sermon, which has been my criticism with pretty much all of these Christian targeted drama films, because it's just so annoying. And so much of this film is just montages of this that could be easily cut out of this movie. You can still have those messages and values within the characters and the themes of the film, but it's just in your face constantly that is just so unrealistic that it actually made this movie pretty laughably bad throughout this film. Surprisingly, I actually have a few positives with this film, and I do have to start with the top billed actor, Cameron Arnett, who actually doesn't have a Wikipedia page, surprisingly, and I actually thought he was decent in this movie. Nothing incredible, nothing amazing, but I think he was the right choice for this role, and he did a really great job as this mentor type figure within this story. And I actually enjoy the scenes between him and our main character Isaiah and all of the scenes that they have together. This movie has a lot of that good stuff in here that I liked, where the character has to change some of the things that he has been doing because, you know, he's not being the young adult that he should be. And I did like those scenes, and they're just good value message things. It's nothing incredible, it's nothing amazing, it's not like high cinema or anything, but I thought those scenes were actually pretty solid. So overall, The Forge is another Christian drama film from Affirmed Films that does everything that you expect it to, and the target audience for this movie has been showing up for it, and they've been loving it with the A+ cinema score, and post-track with the audiences giving around a 5 out of 5, and they just really love this movie. I know I'm in the minority, I'm not trying to hate on this movie, but I just think this movie is pretty bad, and it's super cheesy, and I know it's got good messages and it's wholesome, but this is not based in any sort of reality. It's not trying to integrate the real world. It's not trying to have like the best actors or even really great cinematography here. I do think there are a lot of better movies with Christian values and messages, like Martin Scorsese's Silence from 2016 that bombed at the box office, which I wish people watch because that is a way better film that doesn't have to be your typical Christian movie, but it has so many Christian values and messages within the story of the film that it actually makes the movie great. I am going to be giving The Forge a 4 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review. As I want to know below in the comment section, have you seen The Forge? And if you're one of the people who actually watched all the way through the video, what are your thoughts on my review? Be sure to comment to the other people on this video who clearly didn't watch this video and came here to hate me and probably didn't even realize I was actually a Christian. So with all that, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys at the movies.